Hey everyone, welcome to the Ask Bess show. How are you today? I'm here every Saturday and Sunday at noon Eastern time to sit with you, to be with you, to see how you are, to share some thoughts together, and love to hear your comments below. I want this to be an interactive dialogue, so please feel free to do that. And if you're watching the replay, please type in replay because I'd like to thank you for that. And if you know somebody who could use some help or tips or company about going from hell to heaven, this is the place today. I'm going to talk about depression during this isolation, how I experienced it to my surprise, and how that shifted for me real fast. After a long time, how it shifted real fast. So I'd like to share that with you today. I am Bess McCarty, a body-mind therapist, holistic health practitioner, neuromuscular therapist, Reiki master, minister, mother, grandmother, speaker, author, surfer, Tai Chi artist, a martial artist, and gosh, bring all of these things together for 30 years as a body-mind therapist to help people get past blocks and fears. My niche is network marketers. I was one for years. Now I'm a generic one. When my company went out of business, I became a full-time generic coach, but I help people with everything, business, life. So this is a place where you can come and ask questions about anything, not only a career, network marketing, career, job, but also relationships, communication, family, health, weight loss, spiritual fulfillment, all of these things. Hi, Deborah. You're front row again, Deborah from Atlanta. Welcome. You're I think the first front row person here on most of these lives. Very special lady, Deborah. You might want to follow her, and Nancy too. Nancy made it. Oh, that is cool. So good to see you guys. This is our one of my favorite times of the week when I get to sit with you. So people, this is the Ask Bess show. People can ask questions on the show below. You can private message me a question and I can respond to that in the show, and maybe other people can too. This is where we're going to have a discussion. Great. So today is from hell to heaven in a moment. And this is an experience I went through, and it's about handling depression during this isolation, during this quarantine time, the experience that I went through. So I'd like to share that with you. First, would like to invite some friends, and I'd like to invite you to, if you know people who could use some help, who could use some company, who could use some tips about, there we go, we're back, I think. Okay, so if you know people that that you think could be benefit, then you might like to invite them, to tag them below, or even not sure about the internet connection here, but okay. So I'm just going to invite a few friends. I invite you too. Seems to be a little bit of disconnection with the internet, but I'll try again here. So where are you watching from? What's the weather like? It is almost 80 degrees here in Kansas. Definitely summer's coming, and I have a lot of flowers blooming around. I have purple phlox, if you've ever heard it spelled Phlox, this purple flower called phlox. And I've got tulips, irises, and a whole bunch of other flowers coming in different succession, and some little tomato plants growing, and some little blackberry plants growing that are native here to Kansas, called Schwarzbeere. That's German for this area in Kansas, where these little round blackberries come out. They're almost like blueberries but smaller, and loving them, loving summertime, loving spring, in spite of the isolation. Okay, so I want to welcome, keeps going in and out of connection. I hope that is still working on your end. Are you guys experiencing some disconnection or interruption? Connect, poor wireless. Okay, not sure, but I'll just continue here. And I would like to welcome Joel, who's watching, and Mihai, and Jana Silva. Good morning, aloha, she says. Wow. Are you in Hawaii? And she's in Maui. Oh, right. Oh, great, Janice. Great. And Nancy says, I actually got really emotional when I saw businesses open and people out and about and didn't even mind the extra traffic. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Janice, that is really cool. And Nancy, that is cool too. I'm feeling emotional myself. In fact, I'd like to share what really happened to me. And thank you for the likes and loves, everybody. I really appreciate that. I love you guys. So, my little, yes, I thought it was my end and not having my, okay. So, everything's connected. Well, Jeff, how are you? Welcome, 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 everybody. So glad to see you. Thank you for the likes and loves. Okay, so what happened to me recently over this pandemic was like when it started, the isolation order started in March, I thought, you know, this is a chance to get a lot of things done. No problem with isolation. I am, you know, a homebody, an introvert, okay, it keeps coming in and out. Welcome, Jim Bailey. Good to see you. Gosh. Okay, follow the people who are on here, you guys. This is really, really cool people on here. And welcome, Anthony. Glad to see everybody. Okay, so when this isolation started, I thought, well, you know, no problem. I'm an introvert, a homebody, a loner. I live alone. I'm used to doing things alone. I'll just get a whole lot done during this isolation time, however long it lasts. So I began to do a few things, but you know what kind of hit me first is like I just wanted to watch a bunch of heart-opening movies, and I didn't want to get to my tasks that I had been behind on. I thought this perfect time to catch up and all that stuff. But it's like I didn't want to do them, and that's not like me. So I was totally blindsided, totally surprised that I felt this heaviness. Anyway, hope that there's no interruption. Trying to reconnect, still trying to reconnect. So I'll don't know what is coming across, what's being omitted, but I'll continue here with my story. So I don't know if anybody else experienced this, but I felt this heaviness, like everything took twice as long to do, like a feeling after my mother passed away or after my dog died, and I thought, gosh, I acting like somebody's died, you know. And then it was just a very, very heavy, purposeless feeling. I still have my purpose, I still have my spiritual connection, all that, but kind of a heavy, heavy feeling that lasted a long time. And I thought, well, what is this? You know, what is this heaviness? And it surprised me because, like, I'm a therapist, you know, I don't get depressed, I have a strong purpose in life and all that. So what is going on here? And I know that other people have experienced depression during the isolation. I think that it was due to lack of social connection. Even though I had my Zoom and a telephone, and I could go for walks and I could wave to neighbors and even stand apart and visit with them a little bit, I began to realize that never again will I take for granted the social nourishment, the nourishment that comes from social connection. When people can see each other smile and not be covered up with a mask, when we can touch, we can shake a hand, that we can hug, and we can get together in each other's presence and sit in each other's presence. I really devalued that before, or downplayed it. You know, being a loner, oh, I can get by myself. I don't need a lot of people. I can be fine by myself. But I'm realizing how that's like food to us. It's like nourishment to us. And I won't, I hope, take that for granted again. I will be grateful. I will be mindful and loving to myself to give this to myself freely. I do know, just as an example and a story about that, I do know a senior citizen who actually died from depression during this pandemic. And this was a month in. And he was 101 years old, yet he was in not total health, but he was in very, very good health. And there was no reason he should have died. It was not the virus. But someone who knew him very well said he was a people person, and he couldn't go to the senior center anymore, which is right near his home. And from that lack of connection, even though he had a friend visit almost daily and he had family that tended to him. He didn't get to go to the senior center, and he actually passed away. So this is real. This depression is real, and the need for human nourishment is real. But I realized that it really starts with, I have notes here to say in order, because I have scribbled up notes here that I've just write when they come to me, and I think, okay, this is what I want to share with you guys. To me was waiting for it to read. Okay, and I just want to welcome Shamala, and want to welcome Debbie. Glad to see you. And Shamala's watching from South Africa, and Janice, you're in Hawaii. You're living in Hawaii now, thanks to network marketing. Janice Silva is an incredible person in network marketing, friend, who has gone to the top of her company and is living where she wants to, which is in Hawaii now. That is just great. And Joel says, Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And everyone, take care and be safe. And Rosie and, oopsie, get the camera back. Sorry, everybody. This Wi-Fi is still coming in and out. Not sure why. Everything's correct, settings and all that stuff. But so what happened to me, I was experiencing all this heaviness and everything, and understanding, maybe at last having compassion for people who do feel depressed, because I haven't before, except after a loved one died. So I was feeling all of this, and then I had a dream about loving myself and loving my inner child and giving myself attention like I do my own granddaughter, or like I teach people to do, cherishing and loving myself. And that was the moment, the turnaround moment, the transformation moment for me. It was the instant that I remembered that dream, was the instant that I went from hell to heaven in a moment. And so I know that sometimes for me, sometimes it just takes one realization to make a shift. When I'd been struggling with making that shift and trying to figure it out mentally and trying different things to find my motivation and my purpose and my joy of living again. And all of a sudden I remembered that and loved myself, and it shifted. It might be different for another person, but that was a tip for me. I'm an inner child therapist, and I realize that loving ourselves is very, very important. And I always say, sure, I love myself, sure, I love myself. But I have my own pet ways of doing that, and that is sometimes to imagine, I'm wrapped in a blanket of love, or to maybe soak in a hot tub and feel that like I'm in a womb and there's all that love around me, or just to hold the environment that I would for a child like my grandchild, because I realize my own inner child needs that love too. And we know that babies in hospitals, when they're born and they have all of their physical needs met, but they're not held and touched, they die. If they have the warmth and the food and all the care that they need, but when they're not held, when they're not touched, they pass away, just like the senior citizen that I mentioned too. And hey, welcome, Jim. How are you? Glad to see you. And Jim Bailey says, I have a friend which passed when he realized he was going to lose his electric wheelchair. Wow. These things. So, another story about loving myself came when I was in a relationship that broke up, and I was very attached to this relationship. I had given my best to try to make it work and make it work and make it work. And the joke was kind of on me, because I kept asking God, how can I make this relationship work? How can I make this relationship work? And it was only a year later that I realized I should have been asking, should I make this relationship work? Should this relationship work? It wasn't the one for me to make work. I couldn't make it work. But right after we broke up, I had such an emotional reaction that my body was covered with a rash from head to foot, except for my face and hands and feet. It wasn't contagious. I could go out in public and everything, but I could, cover up and still go out. But it was a very itchy rash. And being a body-mind therapist, I know that the skin represent different parts of the body. Every part of the body has a psychological correlation, and the part of the body that the skin relates to, or the psychology that relates to, the skin is how we know we're loved. Because that's why babies need the touch, or maybe we need hugs. So I had this rash. It lasted for 2 weeks. I tried all these different things to help it, and all of that, nothing. It just kept persisting until one night when I was out to dinner with a group, a personal growth group, and I was sitting across from a woman who was describing to me something that she was going through. Being a coach and a counselor, I suggested, love your inner child, love and cherish yourself. And I remembered I had been forgetting to do that since the breakup. Even though I'd taught it for years, and I practiced it for years. Since the breakup, I had been forgetting to do that. So that night I went to bed, and I imagined myself, in the covers, just wrapped in love, like the covers were love being wrapped around me, like a mother's love or God's love or whatever. But mine was a nourishing love, my maternal love, that I then turned to myself. And I wrapped myself in this love. And I remember using the restroom in the middle of the night, and I happened to look in the mirror, and I saw that my rash for my whole body was half gone. It was half as strong. And I went back to bed, and I kept practicing that loving my inner child, loving myself with that nourishment and cherishing. I woke up in the morning, the rash was completely gone. I have a lot of body-mind stories like this, but that was one of the most dramatic that I could tell. And that reminds me very much of what I went through recently when I remembered to love myself again. What does that mean? To me, it means tending to my feelings and my needs. And this has become my life work because I had neglected it so much, and so many people neglect it so much. We get wrapped up in our head in meeting the bills, getting to work, racing the clock, and all the so many things that need to be done in life, that we tend to put our own inner child, which is to me my feelings and my needs, we put that on the back burner. We say, that's not important. I'm a big now. I shouldn't need attention. I shouldn't need love. I shouldn't need cherishing. I shouldn't need that stuff. I've got things to do. I've got a family to take care of. I've got bills to pay. I've got work to get to. So that stuff shouldn't matter anymore. I'm big. I'm grown up. I shouldn't need that stuff. But actually, I've discovered that I do. I've got to make time for that in among all the other things. So my commitment to myself is to make time every morning to check in with my feelings and needs, and through the day too. And that has really become my life practice with myself and what I teach other people. I call this Real Conversations with Ourselves. It checks in with how am I feeling today? What am I needing today? A lot of times we don't know what we're feeling or what we're needing because we're not used to thinking that way. So I made a chart with all the feelings and then all the needs. I made a 4-part chart. The challenge the problem we might be alerted to when something is wrong, like depression, or like any other way that we feel stuck. The second box is a list of feelings. And disregarded is not a feeling. Like sometimes as a coach, I talk to people and say, well, how are you feeling? I'm feeling disrespected by this person. That's not a feeling. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling enthusiastic. But I'm feeling ashamed. These are true feelings. And a lot of times we don't really know what true feelings are. So I put those in the chart, which I am offering free to you today. You can actually find that at the Facebook event Real Conversations class, but I'll post a link below too. So you can find these free tools that I put out, the chart and an audio and all that, in the Facebook event called Real Conversations class. So what I did is I put all the feelings in a little chart, in a box. Basically, there's mad, glad, sad. But there's a lot of variations of that. It's really good to know ourselves and our feelings, because then we give ourselves company about that. But the second reason is because it can help us know what we need underneath it. A lot of times I might not know what I need, but every problem is a sign of an unmet need. Every emotional, physical, spiritual, mental, spiritual problem that we have is really a need that wants to be met. And when we get good at knowing our needs and meeting them, the problem in our life disappears. The feeling stuck, the feeling frustrated, the not able to do something, the feeling depressed, the feeling unhappy, it literally disappears. And it can happen in just a second when we realize that. So a lot of us don't know what we're needing. I put all of the needs in a chart from studying for years, Abraham Maslow and other teachers, Tony Robbins and other teachers of needs. I compiled all these needs and I put these in a chart so that anytime someone can pull up their Real Conversations chart, some people put it on their refrigerator to have it handy, and they can look and see, well, what am I feeling right now and what am I needing right now? And then we meet that need in a healthy way. Addictions and compulsions and all sorts of problems are trying to meet a basic need in an unhealthy way. The needs are real and valid, just like a plant. When you buy a plant, right, it has, okay, I need this water, this sun, or this fertilizer, this food, and a plant needs that. Each plant's a little different, but basically each plant comes with a care, if you buy it at a nursery, can come with a care label so that you can know what it needs. We come with a care label too. And since we're all human, we're of that one species, we have this in common. So that is what my Real Conversations chart is. It's a care label, how to care for yourself. For example, we all need physical things, right? We need air, food. We need air, food, water. We need sleep, exercise, and nourishment. And emotionally, we need connection with other people. We need encouragement, support, heartwarming company. Mentally, we need things. We like to learn new things, hopefully every day. We like to discover. And spiritually, we need things. We need to contribute to life. We need to know that we matter, that we can give to life too. So I listed all of these things in the chart, and we can go through and see, well, and how do I meet those needs? Now we know what the needs are. How do we meet them? So that's what I teach people to do too. For example, wrapping my own inner child in the blanket, in the bed. There's a psychologist named Pat Allen, and she says that people need 3 things. She said they need someone to love, something to do, and somewhere to go. So we can check in our lives, can't we? I like to check in my life and say, do I have all that in place? You know, something to do. That would be my purpose, like helping people and coaching people. To reconnect. Okay. So I just want to welcome Jane. How are you? Oh my goodness. And welcome Carol. Glad to see you. And Patty. Wow, this is quite a party today. And Janice, it's been an eye-opening time. What have you been learning, Janice? What have all of you been learning? I would love to hear you. If you feel comfortable, I'd love to hear you share what you've been learning during this time. That's the Wi-Fi coming in and out. Not sure what's happening. And welcome, Jeanette. So glad to see you, my neighbor, my friends, my dear ones. Yeah, what have we been learning during this time? It's got to be a changing time. My experience is that every single change is for the better. That God is behind everything. God is really in charge, and that everything is for our best benefit, especially for our spiritual growth. Yep. And yeah, Janice says you're a giver, and so are you, Janice, of course. And I think that we all are, aren't we? We're all givers at heart, and we need to be doing that. We need to have something to do, something to give. However, maybe the greatest thing we can give is just our presence and our listening. And when I was, let's see, I've been staying focused on team, and it's off to help me stay. Yep, yeah, focusing on giving. Like when my son left home at age 12 to go live with his dad, I realized, okay, where do I give my love to now? You know, I could give it to my clients and my students, because I was a holistic health practitioner then too. And I know some takers, but they're not happy, are they? So we learn that. One of the best things I believe that I can give is presence and attention and caring and acceptance. And was coaching a client the other day who shared with me a beautiful quote, which I'd like to share with you. And I have to find the author again because I could not find it. But here's the quote. Here's the quote. It is not necessary to teach others, to cure others, or to improve them, but to live among them, sharing the human condition, being present to them in love. I thought that is what I aspire to do in my coaching. Because sometimes we do need solutions and ideas and ways to heal ourselves. But maybe the greatest healing of all is just to be present with other people. And on that note, I invite you to a Tuesday night class that I offer by phone, by call-in phone. It's a coaching class called Real Conversations with Ourselves. This is every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can dial in by phone. I used to charge $100 a month for this class. Now I'm making it free. I'm making this Tuesday night. It is free for everyone to just dial in. The phone number is, I'll post the phone number for you below. And you can call in. You can get connected with people. You can just listen. You can be listened to. We take turns who goes first. And you can even have help with what you're working on if you wish. So this is a Tuesday night class, Real Conversations, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and is open to all. You're welcome to join in. You're welcome to share it with people. This is my way of giving back at this time. And here's what many of people have given feedback about that class, including some of the people on this call right now are on that class. But here's what one person said. I love this work. It has freed me from old limiting beliefs and fears so I can live all my joy and give the gift of me to the world, because no one else can do that. So love to have you. I'm here every Saturday and Sunday at noon Eastern Time. Next Saturday, every Saturday and Sunday, Facebook Live here at noon Eastern Time. And actually going to talk about, I guess the topics aren't solidified yet for this coming week, but they will be relevant. So thank you very much. Welcome, John. Welcome, Mike. Glad to see you. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to talk long enough now, so I'm going to sign off, but the replay will be up, and let's keep the conversation going. Do you have a takeaway that you got today? Do you have a tip you could share with others? Do you have a question about how to shift your state of consciousness, how to move from depression to joy in a moment, from hell to heaven in just a moment, like I shared on here? It can be just a quick switch, a quick switch of consciousness. I've heard that a miracle is a change of consciousness, and that's what I think. Right? We all want to feel happy, connected. So remember, have someone to love, something to do, and somewhere to go. I love you. See you next time. Bye-bye.